Welcome back, coin collectors world. Today we are diving deep into the story of one of the most talked about quarters in American history, the Washington quarter from the year 1967 with no mint mark. At first sight, this coin may seem like an ordinary piece of change, something you could easily pass around without noticing. But hidden within its history and in rare cases within its condition is a story of value, rarity, and the possibility of life-changing worth. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932, created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design featured the profile of Washington on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. For many years this quarter was struck in silver, which gave it not only its beauty but also its intrinsic value. But the mid-1960s brought a major change. By 1964, the rising price of silver was creating shortages in circulating coinage. People were hoarding coins for their metal content, and the government faced a crisis. The solution was to remove silver from dimes and quarters entirely and replace it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This new material had no precious metal, and it was designed to keep the coins circulating instead of being stacked away. From 1965 onward, quarters were no longer struck in silver, and this marks one of the most important transitions in United States coinage. Now here's another twist. During the years 1965 through 1967, the United States Mint made a decision to remove mint marks altogether. Normally coins would carry a small letter showing which mint they came from, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But for these 3 years the mint deliberately left off the marks. The reason was to discourage collectors from hoarding new issues at a time when coin shortages were already causing problems. So every quarter from this period, no matter where it was minted, carries no mint mark at all. In 1967 alone the mint produced over 1.5 billion Washington quarters. With such a massive mintage, it is easy to assume that these coins are common, ordinary, and worth nothing more than their face value. And for the most part that is true. Millions of them are still circulating today, and the vast majority of them can only buy you 25 cents worth of goods. But coin collecting has always been about details, and within those billions of coins are rare treasures that set themselves apart from the rest. Collectors search for unusual errors such as doubled dies, coins struck off-center, or even quarters accidentally struck on different planchets. Each of these errors is a mistake of history, and instead of being worthless they become prized possessions in the hands of collectors. In addition to errors, condition plays a powerful role in the value of a coin. A coin that has been in circulation for decades will show scratches, nicks, and wear from use. But a coin preserved in superb gem condition, with full luster and sharp details, is something completely different. These high-grade survivors are the ones that astonish auction houses and bring record-breaking prices. Most 1967 Washington quarters are only worth face value, 25 cents. If you find one in slightly better shape, perhaps uncirculated, it may sell for a few dollars. But the rarest and most desirable examples can change everything. Imagine holding a quarter that looks like every other coin in circulation, yet when examined by experts it reveals itself to be one of the finest known examples in existence. Imagine that simple coin carrying a price tag that most people would never believe possible. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know when a coin in your pocket, in a family jar, or hidden in an old box might turn out to be a treasure. Stories of coins selling for unbelievable amounts capture the imagination and inspire collectors to keep searching. And among the most remarkable of these stories is the tale of a 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark that stunned the numismatic world. This coin, in pristine condition and graded at the very highest levels, sold for an extraordinary price. A small piece of American history, struck during a time of transition, valued far beyond its face. A coin that could have been overlooked, yet turned into a symbol of why we search and why we collect, and here it is, the moment you have been waiting for. The value that takes this ordinary-looking quarter and places it into the spotlight of history. A single Washington quarter from the year 1967, with no mint mark, has been valued at $90,000. So the next time you hold a quarter in your hand, take a moment to look closer. History is written not only in books and monuments but also in the smallest details of everyday objects. That coin in your pocket change may be more than spare change. It may be a hidden treasure, a link to the past, and possibly the key to an incredible discovery. Keep your eyes open, keep learning, and never stop searching, because treasures are out there waiting to be found. Today we are going to dive deep into a story that starts with a simple piece of change but ends with one of the most fascinating discoveries in American numismatics. Our star today is the 1970 Washington quarter, a coin that at first glance looks completely ordinary, but as you will soon discover, it has the power to surprise even the most experienced collectors. Let us begin by looking at the Washington quarter itself. This coin was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by John Flanagan and it quickly became one of the most recognizable coins in American currency. On the front, or obverse, we see the bold profile of George Washington, while the back, or reverse, shows the American eagle with wings spread wide. Over the decades, billions of these quarters were struck at various United States mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. By 1970, the Washington quarter was already a familiar sight in every pocket, every cash register, and every coin jar in America. That year, millions were struck at the Denver Mint. These coins bore the small letter D, the mint mark, right on the reverse side. Almost all of them were normal coins worth 25 cents, meant to circulate and be spent on everyday purchases. But hidden among those millions, a very small number of coins carried a remarkable secret. Something extraordinary happened during the minting process in 1970. Instead of being struck on a blank quarter planchet as intended, a few of the Washington quarters were accidentally struck over already existing coins. Even more astonishing, some were struck on top of coins from another country. Imagine that for a moment. A Canadian quarter from 1941 found its way into the machinery of the Denver Mint, and the powerful presses stamped the new Washington quarter design right on top of it. The result was a coin unlike any other. To the casual observer it still looked like a normal quarter. But under close inspection, faint traces of the older Canadian design could be seen beneath the American images. Letters that should not be there, outlines that did not belong, and subtle shadows of another nation's coin all became part of this accidental masterpiece. For years, no one noticed. These rare error coins passed through hands without a second thought. They were used in grocery stores, slipped into parking meters, and forgotten in change jars. Generations of people may have touched them, completely unaware of what they were holding, but the world of coin collecting has a way of uncovering mysteries. When sharp-eyed collectors finally discovered these strange markings, word began to spread. The 1970 Washington quarter struck over a 1941 Canadian quarter became one of the most talked about error coins in American history. Suddenly everyone wanted to see if they had one. People began searching through rolls of quarters from the bank, examining their pocket change with magnifying glasses, and hoping to stumble upon one of these rare treasures. What makes a coin valuable is not just age, but rarity, condition, and demand. This particular quarter combines all three. It is rare because so few were ever produced by accident. It is special because of the story it tells, linking two different nations' coins in one unusual mistake. And it is in high demand because collectors love errors that can never be reproduced. This is not just a minting mistake, it is a piece of history frozen in silver and copper. So how do you know if you have one of these coins? Start by checking for the year 1970 and the D mint mark. If you see that, look carefully at the details. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe will help you spot the ghostly traces of the underlying design. If you see strange letters or shapes that do not match the Washington quarter design, you may have found something extraordinary. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to discover one of these coins in your change. A simple quarter, something you almost ignored, suddenly revealing itself to be worth more than a car, more than a year's rent, more than most people would ever expect a single coin could bring. And that brings us to the most astonishing part of the story. One of these 1970 Washington quarters has been valued at an incredible $60,000. So the next time you empty your pockets, check your change carefully. That humble quarter rattling at the bottom of your wallet might just be your ticket to an unbelievable discovery. Today, we are talking about a coin that looks ordinary to many but can actually turn into an extraordinary treasure. This is the story of the United States Washington quarter from the year 1989 with the Denver Mint mark. At first glance, it may seem like nothing more than a regular 25-cent coin. You might have even spent one of these at the store without thinking twice. But here is the truth. Some of these quarters are worth far more than their face value, and one in particular can be worth a small fortune. The Washington quarter itself has a proud history. It was first issued in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, showing Washington's profile on the front and an eagle on the back. It was never meant to be temporary. Instead, it became a permanent part of American coinage and remained in circulation with the same design for more than 6 decades. By the year 1989, the quarter had already been in circulation for over 50 years. That year, millions of quarters were produced at the Denver Mint. You can recognize the Denver Mint by looking just to the right of Washington's ponytail, where you will see a small letter D. That single letter tells you exactly where the coin was struck. Most people think all coins are the same, but collectors know that is not true. The value of any coin depends on a few very important factors. The first is condition. A coin that has been handled, scratched, or worn down will usually not be worth more than face value. But a coin that has been carefully preserved for decades without losing its shine or sharp details can be worth hundreds or even thousands of times more. The second factor is rarity. Even if millions of coins were originally minted, only a small number survive in flawless or nearly flawless condition. These are the coins collectors hunt for. The third factor is minting errors. From time to time, mistakes happen during production. A coin might be struck slightly off-center, doubled in its design, or produced with unusual variations in metal. These mistakes make coins unique, and uniqueness drives value. When it comes to the 1989 D Washington quarter, all of these elements combine to create the possibility of something extraordinary. For most people, the coin is worth no more than 25 cents. You spend it, you forget it. But for a small handful of people, that same coin has turned into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Imagine the excitement of searching through your change, spotting a 1989 D quarter, and realizing that it looks brand new. No scratches, no marks, no dull surfaces. Just a brilliant, nearly perfect coin that has survived untouched since the day it left the Denver Mint. Now imagine sending it to a professional grading service and receiving back the news that your coin ranks among the highest grades possible. That is when the story changes completely. Collectors compete fiercely for the best examples, and auctions become a battleground where the price climbs higher and higher. What started as a simple quarter is suddenly the centerpiece of a bidding war among passionate collectors. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, art, and discovery. Each coin carries a piece of the past. Holding a Washington quarter from 1989 is like holding a symbol of America's heritage, a design that generations of people have carried in their pockets. But for some lucky individuals, it is also like holding a hidden treasure. Now comes the part you have been waiting for. How much can a pristine example of the 1989 D Washington quarter actually sell for? The answer is truly astonishing. The right coin, in the right condition, has been known to sell for as much as $50,000. So the next time you come across a Washington quarter from 1989 with that little D mint mark, do not ignore it. Take a closer look, because that small coin in your hand could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today we are about to uncover the story of one of the most fascinating coins in modern American history. A coin that most people would overlook, a coin that millions of Americans have held in their hands without giving it a second thought. But hidden within this ordinary design is the potential for something extraordinary. I am talking about the 1990 Washington quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint. At first sight, this coin might appear completely normal. After all, it carries the same design that millions of quarters from the late 20th century do. On the obverse side, the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, stares outward with quiet strength. The word liberty is boldly stamped above his head, while the date, 1990, rests at the bottom. On the reverse side, the majestic eagle spreads its wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. It is a design that has been a part of American life for decades, a design that became so common people hardly looked at it anymore, but within the year 1990, something unusual happened. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the small letter P, struck millions of these quarters. The vast majority entered circulation and lived the ordinary life of pocket change. They bought candy, sodas, parking meter time, and countless small items across the country. Yet hidden among those millions were a few coins that were anything but ordinary. These special quarters would go on to stun collectors, and in the right condition, fetch a value that seems almost impossible for such a common piece of currency. To understand why, we must first look at the three great pillars of coin value. The first pillar is condition. Coins, like antiques or artwork, lose value when they are damaged or worn. A coin that has passed through thousands of hands, scraping against keys and clinking in jars, will show signs of its long journey. But an uncirculated coin, one that never entered circulation, is a different story altogether. Imagine a quarter that has been preserved since 1990 without a single fingerprint, without a single scratch. The details of Washington's hair are sharp and defined. The eagle's feathers on the reverse are crisp and perfect. Such coins are the ones that make collectors' hearts race, and when certified by professional grading services, they can command prices far above their face value. The second pillar is rarity and error. During the minting process, machines press blank coins with great force, striking the designs onto them. Most coins come out as expected. But occasionally, mistakes happen. A die may double strike, creating what collectors call a double die error. A blank may slip slightly, creating an off-center strike. Sometimes, a coin may even be struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the wrong piece of metal entirely. These mistakes are rare, and the rarity is what makes them valuable. Among the 1990 P quarters, error varieties are known to exist, and these have become prized treasures in the collecting world. The third pillar is rarity at the highest grades. While millions of 1990 quarters exist, only a handful are in flawless mint state condition. This is what collectors chase. They want the very best examples, the few coins that survived perfectly through time. It is the combination of rarity and condition that transforms pocket change into a fortune. Now picture this. You are sorting through your coins one evening. Among the dimes, nickels, and quarters, you spot a 1990 quarter with the P mint mark. At first, you think nothing of it. But what if this particular coin, the one sitting casually in your hand, was one of those rare survivors? What if its condition was so perfect, its preservation so remarkable, that it could compete at auction? The thought alone is thrilling, and it is this possibility that keeps coin collectors searching every single day, and this is where the story of the 1990 P Washington quarter takes an extraordinary turn. Because while most of these coins remain ordinary, a select few have stunned the numismatic community with their astonishing value. When placed in the spotlight of professional auctions, under the careful eyes of determined collectors, the price of a single quarter has climbed to heights that few could ever imagine. So how high can it go? How much could one rare 1990 P Washington quarter actually be worth? The answer is staggering. A rare example of this coin, preserved in near-perfect condition and recognized for its rarity, has sold for as much as $45,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin worth 25 cents in your pocket could, under the right circumstances, carry a value of $45,000 in the world of collectors. So the next time you hold a quarter, take a closer look. Look at the date, look at the mint mark, and look at the details. Because hidden in plain sight, among the most ordinary coins, could be a life-changing treasure. That is the magic of coin collecting, and that is the story of the 1990 P Washington quarter. Keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, history and fortune often rest in the palm of your hand. Thank you for joining us today on Coin Collector's World, where every episode brings you closer to the hidden value inside your pocket change. Remember to subscribe, like, and share so more collectors can join our growing community of treasure hunters. Keep searching, keep collecting, and never stop believing that the next coin you find could be the discovery of a lifetime. Until next time, this is Coin Collector's World, where coins tell stories and collectors make history.